Hey everyone, this is Roman Prokopchuk, and this is the Digital Savage Experience podcast. Today I have with me Zach Moreno and Rock Felder. They are the co-founders of SquadCast.f, an intuitive audio and video recording platform that's been taking the podcast world by storm. Thank you for joining me today, guys.
Thanks for having us, Roman.
Appreciate it.
My pleasure. So tell me kind of a little bit about your journeys, how you guys got started, if there were any kind of pivots, hurdles, how your paths intersected, and how did you kind of come up with the idea for starting Squadcast?
Well, Rock and I are longtime friends and go way back. So I think our paths crossed when we were first in high school, and had good times back then. And along that journey, Rock was the first person to introduce me to podcasts from kind of an audience listener perspective. I love learning new things, and podcasting has always and still does provide a really great way to pick up off of new conversations and topics. So was kind of in that listening mode for a long time through college and my early career. Of course, Rock and I stayed in touch, and decided at a point to really go from a passive listener experience as part of the audience, and actually participate more actively as a creator in the emerging genre of podcasting called I'm drawing a blank on what it's called right now. Wow, my apologies. Audio dramas. My apologies. Yeah, the emerging genre of audio dramas, with some of the early inspiration from science fiction podcasts like Ars Paradoxica. Really saw an opportunity to create something in a new medium, get outside of my comfort zone, and work within audio, telling stories. So that really was the not related to doing a startup or a web business or SaaS or anything like that. It was more so just wanting to do a creative side project, and really discovered this challenge and opportunity to build unique tools for podcasters to record quality audio from anywhere in the world. Because we had a distributed production team for that project, we quickly found this challenge of recording quality audio across the web and not being in the same location. So that's really where I started with that challenge, saw an opportunity to really build something new, and quickly realized that I needed to talk to my good friend Rock about the business aspect of building a product that is in service of a global community, bringing innovative technology to the creative landscape. So we've been co-founders since then for the past 4 years ish, and really grateful we could work with the podcast community and all the creative work that's being done in this growing industry.
No, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
and for me, go ahead.
Go on.
I was just gonna say, for me, like Zach said, it was cool, starting from that baseline of we've been friends for 10 years and really trust each other. And throughout those years, I've seen Zach kind of set these really ambitious goals, such as wanting to work at Google or write a book. And then, one after another, he just starts to accomplish those. And for my own journey, I was kind of doing well, having a successful corporate life, I guess you could say, which is what I thought I wanted at first. And I just found myself really struggling with that once I got to a certain point, once you hit 75K salary and your happiness is no longer correlated to your salary, that I think I did reach that point, and I wanted to do something more independent, more entrepreneurial, more creative. And so when Zach approached me about this and to be his partner on this journey, it was like, wow, man, like I've seen you do enough things where I have no doubt that you're going to make something happen, whatever it is. And the fact that it was podcasting, which was like you said, we were listeners, we're big fans of the medium, and really experienced the magic of it. It didn't seem like it was early to us, but it actually still was. Even in 2016, there were so many people that weren't familiar with podcasting, or didn't really even know about it, didn't know it was on their phones. And that blew my mind. And I just thought there's more people that would enjoy this, and most likely get inspired to start recording that. And the idea for SquadCast just seemed like a really exciting thing to get behind, and couldn't think of a better partner to kind of complement my skill set and my interest in business, to do something that, could give creators like this tool to just really empower and get their content out there, get their stories out there.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think it's obviously, like we talked offline, it's a great platform that hopefully I move to at some point in terms of scaling my show. And I guess it's a great kind of relationship where you get to work with your friend. How is that kind of business relationship kind of developed, and some of the things that you may have overcome or seen as hurdles and kind of tackled together in this business?
I think the tough part is like, just the conversations can go anywhere, because it's like, I know his parents, I know his wife, like he knows my parents, my girlfriend, like, it's easy. We have similar interests and stuff. So like the conversation can transition from, business SquadCast related to some of that stuff. So, and lately with the growth that we've had, which is a great problem to have, we just have less time to talk about those things. So we got to keep it focused, and got to cut it off and say, hey man, go have dinner, go enjoy your weekend type stuff. So, but I think overall it's been a real true blessing, because I think we're just starting from a place of mutual respect, admiration. We've seen each other over the last 10 years accomplish some things that I think, that's why he did feel confident reaching out to me, because I think he had seen that I was doing well, and must have been impressed just as I was of him. So I'm not, it's not without its challenges. We've certainly had times where it's gotten tense and stressful, but it's nothing that we didn't come out better and stronger for. And I truly mean that. And I think it's because we just are always operating from that bottom level of respect and love for each other, that, it's most of the stuff is just because we're stressed and because we want to do so well, that it's not really, I don't know. You tell me, Zach.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm glad that you said yes to my crazy 3-hour long pitch. That was
it was 2 hours
incoherent, not as articulate as things are today, or well refined. So, yeah, I would add to what Rock just said, that we also, our skills complement each other really well without overlapping to a maybe potentially contentious degree. So my background is a software engineer, a full stack software engineer, and Rock's background is in finance and accounting and business. So while I've studied those topics from kind of the outside looking in, he has studied, the web and the business models that apply, and pricing, and we've kind of grown in a number of ways since starting SquadCast. And I think that is a fundamental skill that we both have, and we cultivate in our team and our culture, is this idea of just-in-time learning, not needing to be an expert in advance, but being able to rapidly become an expert, or at least at a high functioning level of these new topics and challenges that we face in the business or the technology, or any of the areas that we have the opportunity to work in. So I think it's that balance is key as well, with our varying backgrounds, with just the right degree of overlap.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think having kind of different backgrounds, but kind of understanding what, each of you do, I think it helps with not kind of stepping on your toes. And I do agree on one of those things in terms of me being responsible for hiring and in management roles, where I had people that, apply for a role. If I can see passion, and I know if they're passionate about it, they can learn on the spot and pivot real quickly. So I mean, I'm a full believer in terms of, let's figure this problem out. And if you really want to learn it and figure it out, you can, achieve that specific problem and get to a solution.
Yeah, you had asked about pivots, and I think we have a story there that I'll share that isn't necessarily, I would say, like a typical kind of pivot where you hear about startups where they completely change their product or they completely change their industry or their business model. For us, it was more of a subtractive process. We, like I shared, have this original challenge and saw an opportunity to bring new technology to this problem that has long existed in broadcast radio and just all forms of content. Ask the question, how can we collaborate when we're not in the same room together without sacrificing quality? And that is something where we bring a fresh approach to. But we started there is the word that I chose. We from there extrapolated that out into this giant technology platform that would have everything under the podcasting sun within its platform to empower hosting and distribution and monetization and audience engagement and you name it. We have a number of friends and a tremendous amount of respect for the companies in the podcast industry who are trying to work on different facets of that. But we really blew it up into this. It was, our naive approach in the beginning was to startups, right? They like to get big fast. So it's like, take the original idea and blow it up. And we did that. And, I'm so grateful that we got some really great advice that caused us to catalyzed us to pivot back to our original vision of solving this core problem and being the best in the world at recording remote interviews in studio quality, and really set all those other opportunities aside, allow other smart people to bring new ideas to those things. And then further down the road, and we've come full circle on some of this, is start to integrate with those partner companies and peers that we have respect for in the industry. So that was the pivot. I guess two pivots. We started with the original core idea, and then we pivoted to this giant platform with all the stuff. And then we got really great advice from our founding advisor, Harry Duran, who really implored us to focus on solving this one problem. And then we pivoted back down to where we started. And I find that kind of beautiful.
And I'm glad we learned that lesson early, because I think it's natural to find yourself taking on all these different projects or ideas and interests and trying to see where it goes. But one of the things that we've learned, because we, again, really value, we have that growth kind of mindset where we're always trying to invest in ourselves and educate ourselves. And one of the things that we've learned is, like, a lot of times the issues are not because of lack of ideas. It's too much ideas. It's due to indigestion, not to starvation, to quote Dan Martell. So I feel really fortunate that we found out that lesson early, because it's not always intuitive, but you hear that you start to hear the cliche of you try to cater to everybody, you end up attracting nobody, kind of thing. I know that's not the right way to say it, but that's the essence of it. So we learned it when we were still small, and I'm really happy for that, because it is a pivot nonetheless.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of those things when you're growing, you want to offer more things, more features, kind of grow your business in that way, scale. And kind of, it's great that you kind of went back to what the core was. Obviously, you can pivot either way, go back, go forward, take a whole different direction, possibly branch out into other, obviously, industries as well with other features. But it's good to kind of have your blinders on in that sense and kind of avoid pitfalls, because I think there are a lot of pitfalls in terms of scaling a business at different, intersections. So, a bottleneck in terms of getting outside funds, or going public if you go public, or an acquisition of another company, or a sale. And I think to avoid it and do it the best possible way that still retains what you started the business for, I think is key, and it'll keep you invested in the business itself.
Yeah, another element to that Rock has brought to the table that wasn't I wouldn't say it was necessarily we hadn't decided, but um, I felt much more confident with self-funding and bootstrapping the company and remaining independent for as long as we have with his background. If it was myself and another technical founder, then I don't think I would have felt as confident making such a bold financial decision, financing decision, um, as the norm in startup land is to go out and raise a seed round and a Series A and start that cyclical process of fundraising every 12 to 16 months. And that approach, I'm grateful for that support system exists, so more startups can be created. But it doesn't necessarily apply to every startup, and we're very fortunate that that it wasn't necessary for ours to grow and be healthy and find a business model that made sense. So that was not necessarily a pivot, but I would say maybe a pivot away from the traditional path of the venture capital cycle that some startups find themselves on. And we've since have taken a seed investment from a great investor, but maintained our independence, and that's what I think is a kind of an evolution there. But have a bunch of great relationships with people who are smarter than ourselves, who aren't first time founders and have more experience and wisdom. And a lot of those friends are venture capitalists. So being out here in the Bay Area, that's not an opportunity that we would feel good about squandering in any way. There's a lot of opportunity with those relationships. So just trying to learn wherever makes sense and find what fits best for our startup.
Yeah, I think it's doing what makes sense for you and not kind of forcing it, because a lot of companies, like you said, want to scale by getting outside funds. And then, some of them don't necessarily do it the right way. They have a crazy burn rate that they're just throwing money at the wall and not knowing the direction that they go. And I think it's important to kind of know who you are and kind of stay true to why you started the company and what your actual, goals are in scaling, and how you want to do it, because ultimately you're kind of in control of that ship. So what kind of motivates you guys to succeed? Obviously, those motivations can be the same. They may overlap, but what currently motivates you in 2020 to succeed? Obviously, that may have changed since you started, may have not, but what's out there for you?
I value tremendously creativity and working with creatives. Um, so I have this hypothesis that I strive for this ratio of creation versus consumption, and I try to create as much or ideally more than I consume, knowing full well that that's kind of a pipe dream. That's not really attainable from my own experience anyway. I'd love to hear from your audience if they think there is a way to achieve that. But the closest thing I have found to balancing my creation versus my consumption is by building my creativity being applied to building tools and services and being of service to other creatives and empowering their creativity. So that's very much what motivates me, is this idea that creativity is enhanced by collaboration. If we're all designing or developing or creating in a vacuum, you're kind of only limited to your own points of view and perspective. But once you add a second, a third, a fourth person to that process, it becomes more and more enhanced, and there's an element of improv that's applied to it, and really amplifies the collaboration. So Squadcast is a really big step in that direction to empower a global community of creatives to collaborate on really high quality content. So I'm incredibly grateful and motivated by that that hypothesis to empower other creatives to express themselves in their medium, in this case podcasting.
It's funny because the answer is very similar for me, but I'll just add my own flavor to it. And it's that I mean, even after SquadCast, but especially before SquadCast, I was always really fascinated, and I really admired people that are creative and had their own kind of thing going on, side hustle, for lack of better way of putting it, or even a main hustle, whatever. Just people that were able to create things and put it out there, and other people wanted it, like build an audience or anything. And I think that's what attracted me to podcasting, and why I love working with podcasters, because podcasting is a creative element, and maybe that's what that's the entree of their content creation. But oftentimes, like, they podcast about other things. So that's what makes them interesting and cool, is all the experience and expertise they're bringing to their podcast and sharing with their audience. And I just never really saw myself as a very creative person. So the opportunity to just be around more creatives and kind of get inspired by them, and like Zach said, kind of give them tools to get their creativity out there. And then since I've really learned that I am creative, but my creativity, or at least in my opinion, is manifest in business. And so that's my own personal thing, is I really love exercising my creativity in business to help creators. And so I think maybe that's why it's a good fit, Zach, because we both kind of, we enjoy the creativity part about it. And to also follow up on how we did the self-funded route, I think that's what helped us identify and serve our customers even better, because oftentimes podcasters are kind of doing the same thing. They don't have access to venture capital or anything like that. So you are bootstrapping it on your own, operating with small resources, and maybe you have a team, maybe you don't, but you're certainly wearing a lot of hats either way. And we can certainly relate. And I think for me, it's been helpful to help us help our customers, because it's just like starting a business. You got to do all this different stuff that maybe you didn't realize you signed up for, but to really get the most out of it, it's certainly more than get behind a mic. Just like a business is more than just getting up a website.
Yeah, I agree. And I think like that creativity component is really important in everything, because I think innovation and creativity, I think, go hand in hand. And for me personally, I think the complacency is kind of the death of innovation. So I'm constantly reading, learning. And I think audio obviously is a superior medium to deliver information and tell your story. I think one main reason that, I do it in terms of a podcast is to really, and switching over to an interview format, is I think everyone has a story to tell. A lot of people are kind of, shy, or thinking that their story isn't big enough than, some of the stories they hear. But I think it's important to share what you have to offer, to the world, either your skill set, your creativity, your experiences, because there's at least one person out there that can learn from it, or they can really, propel or get through something in life through what you've shared on a podcast or anything else in terms of the audio format.
Yeah, it's a good time to be in audio. When we first started, which wasn't too long ago, it wasn't really seen as a true business yet, podcasting. And so, especially on the production side, like the content creation side always kind of had, people were always interested in, I think, just because content is can become such a valuable asset if it does hit. But yeah, it wasn't always something that was like, we felt like we got it, and we're like, people are going to want to collaborate remotely. And that was another big thing about SquadCast, is we saw ourselves as in that access of riding the wave of podcasting, but that remote work and remote collaboration would be more of a thing. And they're going to need high quality tools. And that's what we wanted to be, is like that remote content production platform. It's audio now. Video is something that we're looking forward to offering very soon. Video recording, I should say. So yeah, we just want to continue to help people get their word and get their content out there, regardless of barriers. A lot of people used to record in the same studio or in the same room, and there's certain advantages to that. But we just felt like, if you want to talk to someone across the world, that's not always going to be the option. So SquadCast is that option, to have that cloud studio experience as close to real life as possible, in the highest sound quality possible, because we do think that one of the things that is in your control as a content creator is the quality of the content you're putting out there. And so when it comes to audio, SquadCast is really the one that's helping you, because it's for your listeners. Your listeners are going to consume this in their ears. Our ears are very sensitive. So anything disruptive or disturbing can be a total turnoff and also a hit to credibility. So we think that that's what we're offering.
Yeah, I agree. I think you have to have that the content in terms of the creative component with the audio quality, because if you don't have both, obviously, if you have great audio but the content doesn't connect with the audience, you're not going to grow and no one's going to listen to it. And vice versa, if you have awesome content but the audio isn't edited, it's not recorded properly, it's a bad listening experience. Eventually, people will go somewhere with a similar genre or a similar format in terms of a show to listen to.
And the content's hard enough.
Yeah, exactly. We have a tremendous amount of respect for how hard it is to earn these time with guests for interviews, and the technology really needs to fade into the background and be empowering the conversation, not getting in the way. So we have a tremendous amount of empathy and understanding for how difficult the content aspect of podcasting is, and the technology shouldn't add frustration to that equation. It should take it away, and it should be really fun to use and be empowering and delightful. So that's very much how we approach it. And collaboration is an amplifying force when it comes to creativity, but also just getting more out of that same content creation is how we think about approaching adding video recording to the SquadCast. So starting with that foundation of quality audio, because if you have really great video, but the audio is lacking in quality, it really doesn't matter. Like, our ears are much more sensitive than our eyes. And it's not a coincidence that like top video producers also have really, really high quality audio. You can't really have one without the other. So that's why another reason why we started in audio, and we're moving into video, because we want to empower and amplify even more creativity and more creative potentials out of that same 1 hour, 2 hour long form, conversation with people all over the world. So today you walk away with quality audio from SquadCast, and soon you'll be walking away with quality video in addition to that audio for the same time investment, with more creative potential to make more content across more platforms and growing your audience with the benefits of being kind of omnipresent as a show and not just a podcast.
Yeah, I agree. So I really appreciate you guys stopping by. Can you let the audience know how they can find more about you, the company? Obviously, I'm interested in terms of when that video update in terms of recording is going to happen. If there's any announcements coming up, anything you guys want to kind of mention.
Yeah, we are totally part of the podcast community, and love the openness that it fosters. So you can connect with us on SquadCast.fm or on social media anywhere at SquadCast.fm. We're in a lot of the Facebook groups that are great for the podcast community, and then also have a tremendous amount of resources for helping people start their podcast and help them get quality audio for their remote content productions on our website. And that's SquadCast.fm. So we're open book. We're super transparent, and so we're open to conversations anytime. We can jump in a session and check it out firsthand. To answer your question though, it'll definitely be within this year. So we're making sure that it's right. We've earned this tremendous reputation that we're very proud of within the podcast community, and we don't take that lightly. So when video lands, we need to be of that same level of reliability and quality from the jump. So that's something that we're looking forward to, and it is coming in the coming months here. So not too long.
And I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to share our story on your show, Roman. We really appreciate it.
No, my pleasure, and thank you for jumping on. And hopefully in the near future, we'll have a discussion about me moving over, and I look forward to it.
We'd love
Same
that.
here.
Yeah.
All right, take care, guys.
Bye.